Hello, human. Reflective Self here with a new episode of Living Lessons, where I get to share honest insights from lived experience. Lessons that capture moments of clarity, vulnerability, and human understanding. Today's episode is all about the freedom of exploration, even in the face of uncertainty. And so here's the lesson that I've learned. Let curiosity lead before definition. There are certain phrases we hear so often, phrases that feel as old as time itself. Through repetition, they've become universal instructions for living a meaningful life. Follow your dreams. Follow your passion. Find your purpose. We've seen them on billboards, engraved on keepsakes, proclaimed in speeches, all meant to inspire. At first, they can feel empowering, liberating even, as if all the answers to our reason for being were already within reach, just waiting to be seized. But for many, those messages can land a little differently. Because what happens when the answers are nowhere near? What happens when we find ourselves still searching, still exploring, still questioning? It's the feeling of being returned to our power without direction. It's the space between the expectation of knowing and the uncomfortable reality of not quite knowing yet. There are some life stories that come with clarity, paths that are mapped out early, purpose that is found quickly, passions and dreams that arrive like light bulb moments. But such stories aren't written for everyone. Some stories arrive neatly packaged. Others speak openly about adversity. And some remain a mystery. And even so, the journey can feel like being handed the last page of a manuscript and wondering what happened to the other 50. We're told the ending, but the middle is missing. We inherit conclusions that belong to someone's story, where the ending becomes the beginning of our own questioning. We find ourselves back to where we started, still figuring it out, still feeling behind, still unsure of who we are becoming. There can be an unspoken pressure to already know what direction life is supposed to take. And when that pressure settles in, it can leave us feeling more disconnected, staring at a blank page without knowing what to write next. But there may be another way to approach the blank page, and that is curiosity, where instead of immediate answers, curiosity invites us to explore, where it doesn't begin with certainty, but with a gentle openness. Curiosity allows us to ask questions without needing them to be resolved immediately. It gives us permission to move through life with a sense of discovery rather than definition. In that way, curiosity shifts the focus, not away from purpose, but away from pressure and towards possibilities. When curiosity leads, the question changes. Instead of asking, "What am I meant to do?" we might start asking ourselves, "What feels interesting enough to explore?" And that small shift alone can create space for discovery to unfold naturally. For many, the arts have become a space where curiosity can feel most alive and where expression and experience can become freedom. And I must admit, I'm somewhat biased, having been shaped by its impact. Nonetheless, whether it's writing rhythmic words on a page, dancing to a classical symphony, or creating something entirely new, the arts often welcome exploration without certainty, expression before definition. In those spaces, mistakes are not failures. They are simply part of the process. A brushstroke that didn't quite work. A sentence that leads somewhere unexpected. A movement that reveals something new and possible about the human body. We are taught to trust our bodies and intuition. And through that process, aliveness and embodiment can speak a more honest truth. It's a place where we sometimes rediscover something that adulthood quietly pushes aside. Play. It's the freedom of building something, taking it apart, and building it again. Not because it leads to a final answer, but because the exploration itself feels most alive. When I think of the arts, I'm taken back to my days of improv and theater class, where I was introduced to the concept of yes and. Yes and holds quite a simple philosophy. Instead of rejecting what appears, you receive it. And not only do you receive it, you respond by adding something of your own, whether it's a continuation of what's already there or something entirely new. Yes and. This concept opened my scene partner and me to a world of possibilities, a world of curiosity that could only emerge through willing discovery and a loosening of our inhibitions. Because when we accept what is offered and remain curious about what might come next, the moment begins to evolve in ways we could never have planned. Even with its appeal, curiosity does not guarantee clarity. Sometimes it can lead us to confusion, sometimes to mistakes, but it can also lead us to parts of ourselves we might never have discovered otherwise. It has led me into experiences that have taught me my limits and boundaries. It has led me to writing, where I discovered a voice I never thought possible. Exploration rarely follows a straight line, but those experiences can also carry something valuable. They tend to reveal what resonates and what doesn't, what will stay and what won't, what we will permit and what we won't tolerate. They can slowly reveal pieces of our becoming. Curiosity doesn't promise a destination, but it does come with movement. And sometimes, movement is exactly what we need, because from movement, clarity can form. We begin to open doors we never knew existed. We reconnect with parts of ourselves that we once explored freely. We discover that meaning and direction often emerge not from having all the answers, but from allowing ourselves to keep asking questions. So perhaps the journey isn't about treating purpose like a hidden treasure on a map. Perhaps it's about trusting our curiosity enough to take the next step and seeing where that next step might lead. And that is the lived lesson that I've learned. It's not a universal prescription, but it is mine. Keep what stays, release what doesn't. Until next time.